What truly makes a person great? Is it their background, the money they have, or just plain luck? History tells us again and again that the answer is none of these. A person's greatness is decided by one thing and one thing only: their thinking. Think about people like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, or Jeff Bezos. They weren't born with a guarantee of success. What set them apart was how they thought. They saw the world differently. Napoleon Hill, author of Think and Grow Rich, famously sighed, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." This is a powerful idea, but it also raises a tough question. If our thinking is the key to everything, why do so many people feel stuck? Why do they struggle to rise above their circumstances and never seem to catch a break? The story I'm about to share offers a profound answer to this very question. Picture a crowded, bustling railway station. Amidst the chaos of rushing passengers and screeching trains, there lived a beggar. Every single day, he would sit in his usual spot, stretch out his hands, and ask for money from anyone who passed by. Most people walked past without a second glance. A few might toss a coin or two into his bowl, but it was never much. He was just part of the scenery, another forgotten face in the crowd. One afternoon, a well-dressed businessman stepped onto the platform. He carried himself with an air of confidence. His suit was sharp, and he looked successful. The beggar watched him and thought, "Now, this man looks rich. He must be generous. If anyone is going to help me today, it's him." With a renewed sense of hope, the beggar approached the businessman and asked for some money, but the businessman didn't reach for his wallet. Instead, he looked the beggar in the eye and asked a calm, simple question: "Do you only take from people, or have you ever given something to anyone?" The beggar was completely taken aback. He was stunned. In all his years of begging, no one had ever asked him such a thing. He felt a mix of confusion and embarrassment. After a moment, he replied honestly, "Sir, I am a beggar. I have nothing to give. What could I possibly offer anyone?" The businessman smiled, a gentle but firm smile. He said, "If you truly believe you have nothing to give, then you also have no right to receive anything. Life is an exchange. It's about give and take." And with those words, he turned and walked away, leaving the beggar standing there, lost in thought. That night, the beggar couldn't sleep. He tossed and turned, but his mind wouldn't rest. The businessman's words echoed in his head over and over again. If you want to receive, you must first give. For the very first time in his life, he began to question everything. He asked himself, is my life so poor because I actually have nothing? Or is it because I simply think I have nothing? This single thought planted a seed. For 2 more days, he went about his routine, but something inside him had shifted. His mind was racing, searching for an answer. On the 3rd day, as he sat in his usual spot, he noticed something he had seen 1,000 times, but never truly paid attention to. Growing near the railway tracks, amidst the dust and gravel, were patches of simple, beautiful wildflowers. They were just there, growing freely. And in that moment, an idea sparked in his mind, an idea that would change everything. He got up, walked over to the patch of flowers, and plucked a few. He held them in his hand, feeling their delicate petals. He had a plan. From that day on, the beggar became a giver. Whenever a kind stranger gave him a coin, he no longer just took it with a downcast look. Instead, he smiled, looked them in the eye, and offered them one of the wildflowers in return. And then, something truly amazing started to happen. The reactions he got were completely different. People were surprised. They smiled back at him. They would say thank you, a phrase he rarely heard before. And what's more, they started giving him more money. The small coins turned into larger ones, and sometimes even bills. He had stumbled upon a powerful, life-altering truth. People don't pay for pity. They pay for value. When he was just a beggar asking for a handout, he was asking people to feel sorry for him. But when he offered a flower, he was offering a moment of beauty, a small gesture of kindness. He was providing value, no matter how small. About a month later, fate brought the same businessman back to the railway station. As he walked onto the platform, he saw the man with the flowers. The former beggar saw him too and walked towards him, not with a hand outstretched for money, but with confidence in his eyes. He stood before the businessman and said, "Sir, Today I have something to give you. He held out a beautiful wildflower. The businessman didn't just smile this time. He looked at the man with deep respect. He took the flower and said, "Today, you are no longer a beggar. You are a businessman. You've understood the most important rule of success." That single sentence was the final catalyst. It cemented the transformation. The man realized he wasn't begging anymore. He was trading. He wasn't poor. He had just failed to see his own worth in the resources he had around him. Let's fast forward 6 months. At that very same railway station, 2 well-dressed men met on the platform, waiting for a train. One was the original businessman. The other was the former beggar. He was now the proud owner of a successful flower stall, and he was on his way to another city to explore expanding his business. They recognized each other immediately.